at that time, that's when I think Curtis was still doing something or had some kind of legal shit going on with Capitol. So he didn't do that album. Scott LaRock and KRS-One signed the contract to do that album. That album was done by them, and the same day that the contract was signed was the same day that Scott got killed.
The same day.
Yeah. Because
welcome everybody to Changing of the Hip Hop Guards. I'm the journalist Sincere. That's my partner Uncle E. And today we have the pleasure of speaking with the legendary Just Ice. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's going on?
Basically, we want to go back in time. We want to remind people. We want to introduce people who may have never known about Just Ice, and just catch us up on what you're going through these days and what you got going on in 2023. But before we do that, let's go back in time and tell us where you were born and raised.
Well, I was born in Brooklyn, Fort Greene, but I got my hip hop influence from the Bronx, Castle Hill, from way back. I think the first time I ever even heard hip hop was like back in 1975. I was hanging out at my aunt's house in Hunts Point, and I was introduced to it then, and then from then on it just took off. From there.
Very dope. Obstacles being raised in New York. Any obstacles you had to endure growing up?
Yeah, it was New York, dog. It's a motherfucking obstacle every day. It's New York, man. I mean, trust me, man. Coming up in well, I would say the late 70s, because I can't say 70s because I was a kid, so nothing. I was just a kid back then. But when I started hanging out and all of that shit, say like from 77 on up, it's like the older I got, it's like the more shit got difficult. You know, it was like that. But that's just the way it was back then. So you just, you took the shit as it came.
Right.
Now you say you were born in Brooklyn, but you were also in the Bronx.
Yeah, I was born in Brooklyn, but I was born in Brooklyn, going to school in Brooklyn.
Okay.
But on the weekends, when my grandmother left Harlem, when she left Harlem, she moved to the Bronx, a place called Castle Hill.
Right. So how can you give us a little bit about how it was growing up in Brooklyn, though, when you were going to school? What?
I ain't like it.
No,
I've had to fight every day.
Really?
Every day. Some day I got my ass kicked. Some day I kicked ass. Some day we came out even. But it was always a fight every goddamn day.
Now, was it any different though in the Bronx?
Nah, in the Bronx it was better and shit, because it was like after I left Brooklyn and I actually went to go live in the Bronx with my grandmother.
Okay.
It was like now I'm up there with my homeboys from the Bronx every day instead of just on the weekend.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to school, and after school we go to the center, play basketball. The Bronx was totally different than Brooklyn. I mean, it was like in Brooklyn, I didn't even like the music in Brooklyn. That I don't know if that shit was just some radio shit. They did not play hip hop in Brooklyn.
Huh.
They did not.
Okay. So now when you move up to the Bronx, you're going to school, you're hanging out with your boys up there. Can you tell us a little bit about when exactly was around the time that you started getting interested in hip hop?
Well, I could tell you, like I said, I first got introduced to it, when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But then growing up listening to it, going, because I mean, when you go to parties around there, we used to go to Bronx there, hear Disco King Mario come outside and play. Mm-hmm. We used to hear Bambaataa play in 100 Park. We would hear this. So by the time I got to like, I started writing rhymes, and wow, before I was in the 7th grade, I was already writing rhymes. I was already writing rhymes already. It was like, but I got serious about it. And I would say like in 81, 79, between 79 and 81, I got serious about it. And that's when I just started writing, because I got more influenced by listening to Melly Mel, because back then Melly Mel, he was different. Mm-hmm. He was different than the way he rhymed with all them other cats rhyming. You know what I'm saying? When Mel spoke, and plus he had that fucking voice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So Mel, that's what influenced me back then was Mel. And I was like, if I'm gonna write a rhyme, I'm gonna use words that's sensible. It's not gonna be MF this or MF this, that, and you know, the common words like see, damn, run, not that kind of stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I wanted to write rhymes that had some kind of intellectual meaning because that's what attracted me to it.
Mm.
You know,
Okay.
that's how I got into it.
Now, did Just Ice, you know, try his hands at anything else aside from MCing or writing rhymes? Did you try breaking, graph, DJing? None
I
of
mean,
that?
I was a DJ first.
Okay.
I still got all my damn records.
Really? From
I
back
got
then?
I got all my joints. I got all my joints. I got all my original break joints. That's one thing that I don't have to want for when it comes to hip hop.
Nice.
When it comes to these DJ breaks, the original DJ breaks, the 45s.
45s. Wow. Okay.
I got my shit.
Wow.
And
Now,
anybody that know me who been to my house when I lived in the Bronx, they would tell you he's not lying.
okay. Now, were you DJing at park jams or parties?
Nah, I was too young for that. I was too young. I was down with this. I was down with the Soundmasters crew in Castle Hill.
Okay.
I was like one of the youngest ones. I was a crate carrier.
Okay.
That's how I knew about records because I was the record boy for them. I would carry the crates to parties and pass records when DJ Pill or somebody was DJing. I would pass records to them. We go out to Downstairs Records and buy them. I don't know if y'all know about Downstairs. That's back in the days when Elroy used to work there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's way, way, way back. The D Train. The D Train.
Heard about it.
Yeah. We used to go there and buy records and all of that shit, man. And that's how I learned about records. That's how I know what is what. We used to go to parties. I used to stand and just buy the speakers, be like, yo, that's that. That's that. That's that. You know what I'm saying? I knew the records as soon as they came on.
Gotcha.
Very dope. What other crews were you part of as far as DJ wise before you broke off to be an MC?
Well, after the Soundmasters in the Bronx moved out to not moved out, I went back to Brooklyn. And we had a crew there, but we really didn't have a motherfucking name. It was just a bunch, it was like 4 or 5 of us, because I had the speaker and the amps. And I would bring records from uptown to there. And when we rock parties, he would rock certain records that was in Brooklyn. That's why I can't say the R&B sucks, straight up and down. But we was playing shit like, back then they was even playing Samande in Brooklyn. I was like, okay, I'm feeling that. Okay. They was playing shit like CJ and Company, like We Got Our Own Thing, and right. Creative Source and shit like that. But to me, those was like Queens and Brooklyn records. You know what I'm saying? But when you rock them at a party with the right bass, the shit sound good. I ain't gonna lie, that shit sound good. Right. But then I would bring records from uptown and we would play them down there. There was a few parties we threw. When I started playing the uptown records, motherfuckers would just stop and be like, oh shit, that's that uptown shit. That's what they used to say in Brooklyn when you play uptown records, because they didn't hear that shit in Brooklyn.
Yeah, so stay right there. So for people that's outside of New York that don't, because you're saying Brooklyn records, Queens, uptown, like, you know, I'm from New York, so I understand what you're saying.
Right.
What, like somebody that wasn't around at that time, that's not from New York, when you say an uptown record, what's an uptown record?
Okay, uptown record. Oh, you mean an uptown record? Oh, well,
like when you're saying playing uptown records,
straight up and down, a record like Catch a Groove.
Okay.
And I'm not saying too many because I'm not giving that shit away.
Yeah.
All right, I'll say 2 records: Catch a Groove and Apache. You didn't hear that shit in Brooklyn or Queens.
Gotcha. Wow. Okay.
Those are straight up uptown records, uptown break records.
Right.
Brooklyn and Queens wasn't breaking back in the early 70s when the Bronx was doing it.
Yeah. Right.
They was not doing it. And even certain parts of Manhattan, like downtown Manhattan, they wasn't doing it either. Only uptown Manhattan was doing it. Like 110th Street and on up.
Okay.
Anything down past 110th Street, it was his lane.
right. Yo, isn't it kind of bugged out and say that, like, at that time, even by certain records, you can kind of tell what borough was what. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
So during your DJ gigs, at what point did you transition off to be an MC? Did that also start off as a group thing, or was you
Yeah,
solo?
yeah, because the Sound Masters, it was like 20 of us and shit. And I'm like, yo, I'm never gonna get on the turntables. First of all, I'm the youngest one, so I'm not getting on the turn. I only used to get on the turntables when we went to like say some of your homeboy's house or whatever, and the equipment was there. I would get on a DJ then. But when it comes to a party, there was other people before me who was better than me.
Right.
But they knew if I wasn't there, my records wasn't there.
Okay.
You know, it was like
Right.
that. But and it got to a point where I was like, yo, let me fuck this, man. Y'all ain't DJ. I'm gonna grab the mic. The first rhyme that I ever had, my man Glenn wrote for me for $3. Motherfucker took my allowance. He took my $3. But the rhyme was dope. To this day, he could quote that rhyme and I can't. He can quote that shit because he wrote it.
Right.
Ever since then, I said no one's ever going to write anything for me because I can't remember it. If I don't write it, I don't remember
it. Right. So talk a little bit about paying dues on the mic. Some of the venues you went to, some of the parks, just getting your name out there. Just talk about Just Ice forming this skills early on.
Well, like I said, but the Sound Masters was one thing that we moved up. My name got a little bit larger when I moved out to Far Rockaway, and I got down with a crew called the A-Team. That was me, my brother B, ourself, PJ, Mr. T. It was a whole. It was like it wasn't a whole bunch of us, but the equipment was off the hook. This was some shit we had back then, and we used to go by the hot. This is before. Check this out. This is before Salt and Peppers. We used to be called the Hot, the Cool, and the Vicious. Then one day we look up Salt and Pepper and got a fucking record called Hot, the Cool, and we was like, yo, they must have heard. Because we got the name the Hot, the Cool, and the Vicious from that old Kung Fu movie. The Hot, the Cool, and the Vicious.
Oh shit. Okay.
See? It was the Hot. The Hot was my man B myself, the Cool was PJ, and I was Sir Vicious. I still use Sir Vicious.
Okay. Oh shit. So that's where did you come up with the Sir Vicious?
From the Hot, the Cool, and the Vicious.
So you just took that from there and adapted that as your name?
Yeah, because we used to, before Wu-Tang, we used to go down to 42nd Street and watch every Kung Fu flick.
Yeah. You used to watch like three. You would get sometimes like three joints.
Yeah, you get
one
two good
main
ones.
feature.
Yeah, two good ones and one real bad one.
Yeah.
Word, motherfuckers flying over oceans and jumping from the Himalayas and shit. And you sitting there like this here, damn, man, we gotta watch this shit, man.
Just to get to the good ones.
Yeah, man. Sometimes, see, by me living in Fort Greene in Brooklyn, we used to walk over the Brooklyn Bridge and walk right into Chinatown. And there was a movie theater right there on the corner, right before the Manhattan Bridge. And you go in there, you pay your $3, you get your bowl of rice with your chopsticks, and you go there and you watch the Kung Fu movie.
Yeah.
That was the real Kung Fu movie. There were no subtitles. Your ass was just lost when it come to words. But the fight was the shit. It was real.
Right.
So,
nice.
Did you shop demos as a group, or did that come later on as a solo MC?
Well, I never. How can I put this? Where was I at? Danceteria. I don't know. You remember the Danceteria?
No, I know of it. I'm too young to go. Yeah.
It was right about. It was right
one
about.
One of my questions was to ask you if you could tell us a little bit about that club, though.
Yeah, the Danceteria was right around the corner from the Limelight.
Okay.
All right. Now, the Danceteria back then, it was a more uppity club. It was an uppity club. If you was from the ghetto, if you even looked like you was from the ghetto, your ass wasn't getting in. All right. But people who knew the music business and who was in the music business and affiliated with someone in the music, because you just couldn't walk into the Danceteria. There was a guy there or a girl there with a big ass list. And if she didn't or he didn't recognize you in the crowd, or you wasn't on that list, your ass is standing out there all night. But inside is packed because the Danceteria had 12 floors. All right. On each floor was a different DJ.
Damn, 12.
Yeah, and on the roof, there was a DJ also. And one particular night, the DJ that was on the roof that night was DJ Africa Islam.
Okay, from Zulu Nation.
Yeah,
Rhymes Syndicate.
Yeah, and before he was that DJ that night, Islam used to DJ for a crew that I was down with in the Bronx called a Mark V MCs.
Okay.
I was down with them too because they had a break off called the Devastating 2. Fuck the other nigga, but I was the best one in that one anyway. You know, so we used to go to Islam's house and play music, and I'm talking about records hanging off the fucking wall. Yo, and then that's how Islam was up there DJing. I grabbed the mic, right? Now it was a little skinny kid standing next to the set or whatever. I didn't know who the fuck he was. So Islam is rocking. I'm on the mic rocking. Usually, me and Islam were just having fun because we used to go back in days, some bullshit, but we was rocking. Had the roof rocking. So I put the mic down, started to walk away. This little skinny kid, and he's like, "Yo, you should make a record." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You should make a record." He's like, "Yo, my name is Mantronix." I was like, "Okay, Mantronix." I'm like, "What the fuck is a Mantronix?" All right. So he said, "Yo, you should make a record. You should get a demo and bring it down to Sleeping Bag Fresh Records. Here's my card." Nigga gave me a card. I'm like, "What the fuck this nigga think this is, man?" I'm like, "I'm from the fucking street. Nigga don't know a card." So I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever. All right. So long story short, there's a studio on Myrtle Avenue in Fort Greene. All right, I don't know if you know about Brooklyn. You know about Brooklyn?
Yeah.
All right, right now at J Street is called Metro Tech. You know about that?
Okay. Yeah.
Before Metro Tech was even built, all them hotels and all that shit used to be a big ass park.
Okay.
Me and my man DMX used to go there and practice Latoya there every fucking morning because he used to live at the hotel down on Astor, him and Biz. So me and DMX would meet up every morning and walk to the park. I had my weed and he beatbox and we draw a crowd every fucking morning.
Nice.
One day I said, "Listen, man," because there was a studio right on Myrtle Avenue. I had $22. I said, "Let's go in there, let's do something." I said, "Let's see what this motherfucking Mantronix is, what are you talking about?" We didn't do Latoya. Latoya was not the first record. The first record that we did was Put the Record Back On.
Ooh, okay.
And it sounded like shit. When we came out of the studio, we just thought we had the hottest record in the world. Yo, it sounded like crap.
What? Why you say it sounded like crap? Do you mean like the production of it? Or?
Yeah, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Okay. I thought the guy was gonna like help engineer this shit.
Oh, okay.
he put the volume on, set the shit to flat, and left. I'm like, "Yo, I don't know what the fuck to do." I had to wing that shit.
All right.
So we finished with the shit. We had a tape. It was a back in the days. He had the 2-inch, the real thick tapes and shit.
Okay.
Now what he did do, he put it down. He mixed it down half-ass to a cassette. All right. So we took the cassette on over to the Sleeping Bag. And they was like, "Yo, the production is shitty, but the rhymes are dope." They said, man, Charles was like, "Yo, we could work with that." He was like, "Yo, I heard him before the mic. We could work with that." And that's when Put the Record Back On started going through the major changes of how it sounds today. Because when the original Put the Record Back On sounded like crap.
Is that version around somewhere?
I don't know. I hope he burnt that shit, man. I hope that shit is burnt.
Yeah.
Somebody hear that shit.
So when that finally hit the streets, what kind of reaction did you get? The final
Put the Record Back On?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that was actually on the other side of Latoya. Latoya was on one side, and what was it? It was Latoya, then the radio version of Latoya. Then on the other side, it was Put the Record Back On, and then That Girl's a Slut.
Right.
Now, the first record that was released, since that was the first record I ever done, the first record that was released was Put the Record Back On. Mm-hmm. When they released Put the Record Back On, I was in jail. I'm not really going to talk about this, but I was in jail.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And the response that I heard from the radio, because they kept playing it over and over, it was good. But when it first came out, for the first 3 weeks to a month, I was locked up. So, but when I came out and I started doing shows like at the Latin Quarter, because back then it was the Latin Quarter, I had a motherfucking line around the corner. It was all coming to see Just Ice.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So it was so big that we did that shit 2 nights in a row. We
Mm.
did that shit 2 nights in a row. On the second night, Mike was like, the guy who owned it was like Mike Goldberg. He was like, well, Justin, we don't know if we're going to get the same crowd reaction. I was like, yo, just do it again. We gonna do it. And the second night, same fucking thing.
Nice.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was a good reaction. And like I said, back then the first record was Put the Record Back On, but the record that drew the attention was LaToya.
Mm-hmm.
That was the record that drew the attention. Back then, that's when Frankie Crocker was alive.
Okay.
And it was the first rap record to make WBLS's pick hit.
Nice.
You know,
Wow.
so it was good.
Nice.
I mean, I see you got this Just Ice Back to the Old School album up there. You don't know how many times people call that record company, mothers called my record company complaining about the cursing on that album. That's why when this album first came out, we had to pull it back and then re-put it out with censors thing on. That's we was one of the first ones to have to do that.
Censor. Yeah, it's funny you say that because I borrowed the record from a friend of mine to record it onto a cassette. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have the record,
right?
And I had my headphones on, right? Because. So,
and you were singing it loud.
But I wasn't realizing that even though I had the headphones on, you know, especially the old headphones, you could still hear it. You could still feel like my dad.
Oh, your pop's bugged out.
He was like, "What are you listening to?" And I'm like, "Damn, you can hear it." Like, I mean, I said to myself, like, "Oh, you know," I'm like, "You can hear it." But, she's a slut, right?
That girl.
That was one of my favorite joints, man. I think I was like in 7th or 8th grade, bro. I think
that was such a comedy record, though. You know,
but it was a dope song, man.
Yeah, it was a story. It was a story. It was a story.
Yeah, before we forget though, can you go back a little bit? You mentioned DMX.
Okay, my DMX.
Your DMX, which is not the DMX Darkman X.
No, that's not Darkman X. So that's not Davey DMX either.
Right. So can you tell us a little bit about him? You know, how did you guys meet and how did you guys connect as far as to be down together?
You know what, man? Me and Ben, I was just on the phone with his ass today. Me and Ben, we go back so far, man. I mean, this goes back to when Ben used to live. It used to be a homeless shelter in Brooklyn, right across the street from the Brooklyn Academy of Music.
Okay.
I mean, directly across the street from the Brooklyn Academy, right on Ashland Place. All right, and that's where Biz used to live also. Biz lived there too.
Okay.
And I used to go there and hang out. And I think one day I was rhyming and Ben started rhyming. First of all, I'm going to give you how Ben got his name DMX. Biz Marquis gave him that name.
Oh, wow.
Biz Marquis gave Ben that name DMX. And I used to just go there and hang out because the projects was right down the block. That's where I used to live. So I used to go there and hang out. And he started beatboxing. And that's how me and him connected. That's how this is way. I mean, this is like 80. Wow, way back. This goes back.
Nice.
And to this day, me and him is cool because right now he's waiting for his passport to come through. So as soon as his passport come through, me and him, we out of here September. We're going overseas to Amsterdam and do this show. We're supposed to be doing it with Melly Mel, Scorpio, and the Sugar Hill Gang.
Very dope.
Nice. So okay, that's ill. That's cool. So when you guys did put the record back on, because he was on DMX he was on that one. He was on like a bunch of songs though.
Ben was on Put the Record Back On. He was on LaToya. This Girl's a Slut, the original gangster hip hop.
Original gangster. That's what I was trying to think of. Right.
And some what up? Because sometimes he's on there, but it's like drowned out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If it's not a beatbox record, you're not gonna really hear him.
Right.
You might hear a little bit of it.
Right. I used to pick up on. I used to love beatboxing back then, man. Like Buff and Biz and Doug. Yeah. So when I heard DMX, it was, he was different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was different than all of them. But I used to, like I said, I was into the beatboxing, so I used to hear, like you just said, I'm like, wow, it's like I hear him, but it's like low or it's like underneath everything.
But when Ben is on stage live, that boy gets busy. He gets busy. That's why I don't mind him on
That's
stage with
dope.
me.
That's dope.
You talked a little bit about the nightclub. What was it?
Density.
No, I'm sorry.
The Latin Quarter.
Latin Quarter, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Take us back to some of your best memories of the Latin Quarter for
You
those
had
of
to,
us.
if you didn't come through the Latin Quarter, you wasn't hip hop, straight up and down. You had to that was the pay your dues spot. Like the Apollo
Right.
is the pay your dues spot up there in 125th and uptown, downtown. Yo, when you any place in New York, you had to come through the Latin Quarters. If you come through the Latin Quarters and you get booed, your career is just over. Over. You come to the Latin Quarters and you make the party rock, your shit is hot. Everybody who's somebody in hip hop went through the Latin Quarters when it was around. I mean, every week you could either catch Red Alert there or Chuck Chill out there. Every week. And I mean, after they come off the radio, they come straight to the Latin Quarters. You know what I mean? This is before Flex and all that shit.
Right.
Flex used to do that shit to Kilimanjaro and all them other spots on 55th Street, come out the way to do, but he wasn't pulling the crowd like how when you was at the Latin Quarter, because at the Latin Quarters, it was like, yo, if you didn't succeed, and anybody would tell you this, your ass you just wasn't.
Fizzled out that fast, huh?
Forget it. It's like when you go to the Apollo. It's like when you go to the Apollo, you don't touch that rock, and you come out there and you fuck up and you get booed. You can forget about selling one record.
Your first time at Latin Quarters,
I smashed it.
What was going through your mind though before you hit the stage?
Nothing. I was like, yo, Ben, you ready? Yeah, let's go do this shit. Because I was like this here. This ain't nothing new to me. I've been rocking parties ever since I was in the fucking fifth grade. I was rocking outside. I was rocking carriage rooms. You know what I'm saying? Get on the mic and say my little shit. That crowd didn't mean anything to me. The first time I hit a big stage was in Danceteria. The shit was real crowded. I put my dark shades on and I went to the mentality. Y'all can't see me, but I can see you.
Okay.
And I just went on stage and just rocked it.
Right.
For me to get on stage, there's a bunch of people that shit don't mean nothing to me. And I really get offended when I start rhyming and motherfuckers start dancing. I hate that shit.
Right. Because you want them to see what you're doing, right?
Stay the fuck there and listen. You could dance from the fucking intermission or whatever.
Right.
You talked about meeting Mantronix, going over to Sleeping Bag Records, but what exactly were the details and why you landed at Sleeping Bag? Were there any other options, any other, other labels?
Well, at that time, I'm pretty sure there were a lot of other options, but no one came to me. The person that came to me was Curtis, and he was from Sleeping Bag. I had no intentions on making a record. I was a fucking messenger and working around in Manhattan delivering messages. I was cool with that. You know, he said, yo, you should do this. And I gave it a shot and it worked, you know.
Very dope.
So the relationship between you and Mantronix, once you guys did the Latoya put the record back on, She's a Slut, how did that go from there as far as your relationship with him?
We talked yesterday.
Yeah.
we talked because like I said, we're going overseas in September. He's coming, he's the DJ, so he'll be coming with us.
Okay.
And also me and him just did, he did the music and I did the lyrics for a new beer. It's out over in Amsterdam. No, it's out in London. It's called Electro Beer. It's like for the younger generation and it's doing real good. And I just did the first commercial for it as far as hip hop commercial. And we're going to wind up going back over there because the guy who's actually sponsoring this beer put out the original Fresh Fest back in 1983.
Wow.
And he's been still in the business ever since. So we're still doing things and we have a new record out also. It's not that new now. It may be like about 8 months now. It's called Get Your Drink On, Get Your Freak On. But we still getting good responses from it overseas. The numbers keep going up. Nice. You know, I mean, and this is the same thing that happened with Cold Getting Dumb. When everybody who's into hip hop seems to love Cold Getting Dumb. But when Cold Getting Dumb first came out, nobody couldn't stand the shit. It took Cold Getting Dumb at least 3 to 4 months to catch on.
Huh? Why do you think that was?
I don't know. It was so much good hip hop out there. you had a choice. You could listen to Cold Getting Dumb, or you didn't have to. Some people didn't have to. And I don't get offended behind that, because you can make what you consider good music, but it's not going to touch everybody.
Right.
You could just hope that it's going to touch some people. So when Cold Getting Dumb for the first 3 or 4 months didn't take off, I didn't get offended. I just went out and I was still doing my shows doing it. Then all of a sudden, everybody started liking Cold Getting Dumb because of the offbeat.
Yeah, that's what I liked it right away.
Yeah, so that's what I think was happening now with Get Your Drink On, Get Your Freak On, because it's kind of like Cold Getting Dumb, but it's a little bit harder. So it's like overseas, the shit is good, but over here, it picks up, slows down, picks up, slows down. And I'm asking Curtis for another track so we can add on to that, but Curtis is Curtis, so you know, I get it when the fuck I get it, I guess.
Was so he like? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, was Mantronix the same way back then too? Like, did he?
Curtis was always weird.
He got you to beat whenever he put it together.
Yeah. I used to, like, for Cold Getting Dumb, for instance, I was right there when he made Cold Getting Dumb. When I got to his house, he was pissed off because he was using the original SP12. Okay. And if you listen to Cold Getting Dumb, just the music, it's off beat like a motherfucker. Cold Getting Dumb is not on beat. You try to do 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll never get through that fucking record. And he was mad, like he was just as, I can't get this on beat. We was gonna trash it. I was like, nah. I said, let it play. I said, when it slows down, I'll slow down. When it speeds up, I'll speed up. He didn't understand what I meant. But when we went in the studio and I did it, he was like, yo, how the fuck did you do that? I said, just listen to the music. I said, even though you couldn't put it on beat, according to that SP12, that little computer is on beat. So all you gotta do is keep up with that click and not the click that you originally used, like the standard 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Because the SP12, if you didn't know how to use that machine, that should have had you get a headache like a motherfucker.
So wow, that's crazy. Okay.
So it's 1986. You're prepping your debut album. What was the training process going in there? Your thought process? The recording
1990. You said 1996.
Man, 86.
86.
You said 86. Yeah.
Okay. 86.
Yeah. Damn. See, that's it. I don't know. Maybe it didn't affect me in a way, whereas I was all excited and couldn't sleep and all of that. I'm like, yo, finally these motherfuckers gonna hear my mouth. You know what I'm saying? Finally, and it's not gonna just be in a park. It's not gonna just be in a carriage room. You know, it's not gonna be by mistake because somebody else is on and I grab the mic. They're gonna hear Just Ice. Right. And people knew who the fuck I was. So it was like, okay, let's do this shit. Let's see. No, my thing was, let's see the response. You know, I wasn't really concerned about getting it out. I was already halfway paid. That part was funded over. Let's see the response now. If people respond, we can do another album. If they don't respond, well, it was a one and done. They responded good.
Right. Talk about that response and how life changed for you after your debut album came out.
The response was, well, like I said, when that shit first came out, I was locked up. But once I got out and everything got straight with the court, the judge said I ain't do it. Everything was nice. Everything was nice. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shows, met a lot of people. You know what bugged me out, man? Just to get off subject a little bit. Me and Shanice Williams, y'all know who that is, right?
Right.
We used to do a lot of shows together. I just heard that she's homeless.
Like now?
Yes. Recently.
Wow.
I just heard that and I bugged that. I'm like, Shanice Williams? She used to be on TV. And now I'm hearing that she's homeless. That shit bugged me the fuck out.
Yeah, I didn't know. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's crazy how this, if that's not true, I hope it's not true. I hope that was just some internet bullshit. But if that's true, man, I hope some, is any way we could reach out and help her and pick up off her feet, because this music business, or should I say this entertainment business, this shit will eat you up, chew you up, and spit you out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, a lot of hip hop motherfuckers who came up with me in this business, some of them passed away, some of them fell off. Some of them got fucked around by their record company and they never recovered financially.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying no names or nothing, just some of the motherfuckers. Y'all know who the fuck y'all are.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to be smart in this game.
Hmm.
You got to be smart in this shit. I mean, like shit. If shit ever fell bad for me, I gotta, I can go do some fucking masonry, wall siding, roofing, air conditioner, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers didn't think like that in the 80s,
Right,
in the early 90s. They just wanted, to just go sign a contract, make a record, get some checks, and think that was a life, but it ain't. But like I said, man, this should have chew you up and spit you out, man.
Who did you have anyone at that time, like when you put out your first album, that kind of helped you navigate through the music business?
Fuck no. Fuck no.
Nah, nobody.
Fuck no. Did that shit on my own, man. Like I said, I'm a real hip hop nigga, for real, man, for real. I don't mean to say nigga, but I'm a real hip hop brother, man, for real. And I came up in this shit, so I saw and I heard what I need. Just like I said in the records, I saw and heard Cruise That Rock. You know what I'm saying? I saw it and I heard it. Nobody had to tell me nothing. I was seeing it and hearing it. I was navigating waters myself.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like somebody to be like, yo, Just, this was like this back then. No, motherfucker, I'm going to tell you how it was because you wasn't there. I was there. I tell a motherfucker in a minute. If your ass wasn't there, you dismissed it.
Right.
1 year later, you dropped Cool and Deadly. What kind of adjustments did you make from 86 to 87 going? What did you learn from, the first album going into your second album that you adjusted?
Well, everybody grows. So yeah, you're right. I definitely adjusted and I grew. But at that time, that's when I think Curtis was still doing something or had some kind of legal shit going on with Capitol. So he didn't do that album. Scott LaRock and KRS-One signed a contract to do that album. That album was done by them, and the same day that the contract was signed was the same day that Scott got killed.
The same day.
Yeah.
Because
after we signed the contract, we all went to McDonald's. Well, matter of fact, Scott wasn't there. Scott was with D Nice. Chris, Scotty, and Boo Man, and Miss Melody, and everybody else was there. You know what I'm saying? And Big Darryl was there. Big Darryl was with us. And we signed the contract up in sleeping bag. After that, we went to McDonald's over there on 67th Street and Broadway. And that's when we had got the phone call about Scott getting killed. Matter of fact, no, Darryl wasn't with us. Darryl and Scott was together. Big Darryl, because Darryl had the red Jeep with the rag top. And that's how the bullet, yeah. So that's how that happened. And I didn't know nothing about none of that shit because after we were in McDonald's, who said something? I think McBoo said something about going back uptown with Scotty. Chris and me said we going back to Brooklyn. It was me, Chris, and DMX. We said we going back to Brooklyn. So we all split up. Everybody went home, basically. Everybody went home. So I'm in my house chilling at night, and I get a phone call from KRS, and he was like, "Yo, Just, he's gone." I'm like, "Who the fuck is gone?" He's like, "Scott, he's gone." I said, "Where the fuck did Scott go?" He was like, "Nah, man, he got killed. Scott is dead." That shit just bugged me the fuck out. Damn. That shit just bugged me out. I'm like, we were just talking to this nigga this afternoon. He was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it right now, but yeah, he's gone." And we hung up, and that was that until we saw each other. I think the next day or the day after, yada yada, ray, all that shit, man. But yeah, man. That's how that. But that album, even though I said on that album, I dedicated to Tyga because Tyga for that album, Tyga was an influence back then, especially with lyric licking. Tyga was an influence, but that album was more or less geared toward the tribute to Scott LaRock because he was supposed to be the one doing it with Chris, but Chris wound up doing it by himself.
Wow. What kind of relationship did you have with Scott and KRS previous to that album? How long had you known each other?
Personal. We were very personal. I mean, it was to the point, I mean, Chris was homeless. Chris was homeless. And at one time I was homeless. So I tell this motherfucker Chris, Yeah, I need somewhere to stay. He was like, sure, Justin, I got somewhere for you to stay. I'm thinking, okay, cool. We gonna crash out at your crib. We gonna chill. He's like, yeah, we gonna chill.
We're gonna chill, all right.
This nigga took me to 166th Street and Franklin Avenue, the fucking men's shelter. I'm like, yo, you gotta be kidding me. He was like, well, this is where I live. And it was late at night. So I'm like, I'm tired. I said, fuck it, man. Give me a cart, man, whatever. He's like, we fill out the paperwork tomorrow morning. Come tomorrow morning, guess who the fuck is some social worker is? Scott LaRock.
Mm-hmm.
Scott LaRock was the social worker in the fucking show. And I'm like, yo, you gotta be kidding me. I said, we were just at Broadway International Disco last night. Here y'all niggas, here you are with a suit on. You know what I'm saying? And ever since then, me and Chris been cool. I mean, I'm not gonna say we the best of brother. I mean, we like brothers. We far apart. Love each other far apart. Because right now he's somewhere in LA, I'm here. We call each other every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're buddy. I ain't buddy with no fucking body. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we cool.
Right.
We cool. But like that.
What how did you guys actually meet though? I mean, I know you said you know
We
you went to the
actually
bed.
met. When did we actually meet? I had a contest at the Broadway International Disco.
Okay.
It was a rap contest, but the house DJ at that time was DJ Scott LaRock.
Wow.
And the house MCs was Jerry Lee MC, KRS-One, and a girl, I forgot her name. And that's how we met, because the lady who ran the Broadway International Disco, her name was Miss Kathy, and she actually lived in Hamill's Projects, where I was living at in Far Rock and Rockaway Park at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the one who told me about it. That's when I hate telling the story, but that's when I bust Jazzo's ass rhyming. And that little cheap motherfucker came back the next week with half of Marcy singing and shit. And he won singing. Yeah. Told the motherfucker, this ain't no singing contest or MC contest, nigga. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So the next year, or 89, the Stop the Violence movement takes place. What do you remember about getting that phone call? I mean, now we got a background, and this is
What
very
phone call?
personal.
What phone call? Ain't nobody call me for no fuck. I happened to just be there in the studio. I happened to be in the studio that night. I think me and KRS-One was doing something in the studio, because this was a Power Play studio. And I think we was in the big room, and Ann Carly from Jive Records, they had booked the other room, and it was everybody was there. We came out, everybody was there, and we was like, "What's going on?" They was like, "Yo, we making it's called Self-Destruction, blah blah blah. Everybody's gonna get on there." Everybody was there except for Chuck D, because he did his part later. Heavy D did his part later also too. He wasn't there. Dougie Fresh was there, Light was there, Sonic was there. Everybody was there. Kane, everybody was there. Everybody was, because Kane was actually doing something in the other studio also, I think. No. LL Cool J, but he didn't get on the record. He didn't get on the record though. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of people there at that night. So we was all talking about it. And they played the music, because D-Nice was queuing up the music, but nobody had did their part yet. Just the music. Everybody had 8 bars. And I was like, well, fuck it, I'll get on it too. And Carly, she was like, nah, Just Ice, you can't get on there because you're a little too hard for this. And this is all about stop the violence and this, that, and the third. As soon as she said that, Dougie Fresh said, well, Just Ice ain't gonna get on it. I'm not getting on it. That's when, after that, Steph said, well, if they not getting on it, we ain't getting on it. So it was like, if I didn't get on it, nobody was getting on it.
Nice.
So and Cardi was like, okay, Just, we give you 8 bars. So that's when I just went in the corner. I wrote that quick shit up. Because it would have been real easy to talk about murder and shooting and all that shit. But I'm like, this is kind of crazy. I'm going in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in the corner. I wrote that shit up real nice. Everybody liked it. I was like, cool, let's record that shit. And after that, that's how I got on Self-Destruction.
But you know, it's funny that you said that she was like, you're not getting on it because you're too hard and this and that. But meanwhile, even though at the time, right, like I'm saying, I'm gonna speak for myself. At that time, you were, you were like the gangster of hip hop to us, right?
Right.
So to see you on that song because of that is what made it so much more impactful.
That's
To
what
see
that's
someone, you know what I
that's
mean?
what
Like
I hear that a lot now, but it wasn't seen at
at the
that time.
time, right.
It wasn't seen at that time. But sometimes things just happen because they're supposed to happen.
Yeah. Right.
And that was supposed to happen.
Right.
What's some of your best memories of that video shoot?
Wow, me being late for one. Me being late. I was too busy getting a haircut early in the morning, and they sent the car for me and some I don't know, publicist or some shit. I'm living in fucking Parkchester, my condo. I'm chilling. 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, yo, it's 7:30 in the morning. And me and my dumb ass, I was hanging out the night before. So I got a little fucking hangover. You know what I mean?
Right.
So and I'm like, yo, I got to get my hair cut. She's like, you got to do what? I said, I'm not going to the video with my hair all fucked up. She's like, Justice, your hair is fine. I'm like, no, it ain't. I just had a haircut 3 days ago. I'm like, the shit is growing back. Now I used to have parts everywhere. I'm like, the hair. I said, the hair's growing back in the parts. Can't you see? I said, we got to go to the hair. So I lived in Parkchester. I don't know if you know about the BX, but Parkchester, if you come out of it a certain way, you come out right behind the Cross Bronx Expressway.
Okay.
You walk across it, you go up, you be 174th Street, walking straight up. If you keep on walking straight up, you pass Gestapo, you pass Bronx River. But right before then, but you keep on going, there's a little bridge there. It's a little bridge. You cross that little bridge, and then it's over there like 174th Street, going toward Hoe Avenue and Vice Avenue. The barbershop was over there. His name was Dave. Dave's Barbershop. So I'm in there getting my hair cut and everything. She's over there in the corner pouting and everything. I'm telling Dave, take your time. Yo, do your shit right. Don't come me with that fucking razor. For real, take it, yo. So we get out of there. We get to self-destruction. We get down to Mount Morris Park, right? Shit is over.
Oh, wow.
Shit is over. So that's why in the Mount Morris Park scene, when you see everybody on the steps, that's why I'm not there. I was getting my hair cut.
Oh, wow.
That's why. But in the other scenes, like at the Schomburg and the library, we all sitting down and everything. Yeah, I was on time for that shit. I was on time for that shit.
Oh man. Hey, you mentioned Heavy D before, man, and I want to see if you can verify this story for us, if you don't mind.
Well, he stole he took my fucking Don't Curse.
So it's true.
Hell yeah.
Yo,
I don't bite my tongue, man. I don't bite my tongue.
So before you tell us a little bit about that, we've asked a few of our guests, like some of their top posse cuts or posse tracks, and Don't Curse comes up quite often. So then I kind of heard about that story, and I was like, oh wow. So what happened there?
It was very simple, very very simple. Me and KRS-One, we were doing actually the very last track for, I think, the Desolate one. It's called Ramdan's Hall Session.
Okay. We
was doing that. Doc Ivan Rodriguez was producing it or co-producing it. Me and Chris was just going back on the mic, chatting back and forth lyrics. Heavy D walks in the studio. You know Heavy D's Jamaican.
Right.
Heavy D walks in the studio. So I said, Reggie, come get down with this shit. Because there was nothing written. It was just all freestyle. Mm-hmm. So we was doing it. And if you listen to the record, you could tell it was nothing rehearsed. It was just going back and forth. So the record gets done. We standing there talking at the end. We still got the headphones on or whatever. We take them off. So we talking, yo, Heavy, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. I said, yeah, me and Chris got a project coming up. It's called Don't Curse. I said, we're going to make a whole, because back then that would have been big for me because all my records had curses in it.
Right.
So Chris was like, Just, you should make a record called Don't Curse. I said, soon, we go do Don't Curse. We happen to tell Heavy D about this shit, just in passing. Next thing you know, he got a fucking record on his album called Don't Curse.
Oh, wow.
But the record is, I think that is that the beat? That's the beatbox record, right?
No.
Because I know he got a beatbox record. I forgot which album it is. I don't know if Don't Curse is on the same album, but it's one record he got when he's beatbox. Do the beat, yo. That shit is so dope. That shit is so. That's why I love Hev. I'm not mad at him, goddamn it. I'm just pissed off, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and he didn't even reach out like, "Hey, Judge, you want to get on
He
this?"
ain't tell me and Chris nothing. He ain't tell me and Chris nothing. He just made don't curse. And I'm like, all right, cool. All right, cool.
Oh,
Wow.
wow, that's crazy.
As a matter of fact, isn't that record Don't Curse? He has a few people on it with him,
You
right?
got a few people, yeah. That's what I'm
Cool
saying.
G, Cool G Rap is on that.
Right?
Yeah, Cool G Rap is on there.
Which is why I was like, damn, he could have reached out to you because that would have worked
Yeah,
too. But
yeah,
I think it's cool. What is it? Cool G Rap,
I
Pete
forget
Rock,
every
CL Smooth,
Pete Rock, Seal Smooth, that's right.
Q-Tip,
CL, yeah.
Grand Pooba.
Yeah.
Oh, word Puma's on there also?
Yes.
Pooba.
That's my dog. That's my dog right there. That's my dog.
Before we talk a little bit about your discography in the 90s, can you take us back to your favorite tour lineup, favorite tour memories around these late 80s?
You said toy?
Tour.
Oh, you said toy. What the fuck?
The interview is over.
He said toy. I'm like, what the fuck is a toy? My tours. Well, my best tours were overseas, straight up and down. I ain't like no United States tours. First of all, the promoters are too damn cheap to this day. I refuse shows in the United States because of the pay.
Mm.
You know, I got called for shows 2-3 weeks ago. Nope, not doing them. First of all, they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay. They don't want to act like that the artist is worth what we're really worth.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Only way they do that is if you, the artist, are coming with more artists, but they're only going to pay for you. You get it?
Gotcha.
That's why I hate going to shows to see certain people. And it's not just them you're going to see, because you want to see that person, but then in the middle of the show, when the shit start getting hot, they want to bring out X, Y, Z, A, B, C.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And then they want to go back to their show. I'm like, come on, man. If I want to see these niggas, I pay for these motherfuckers. Put it down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I like overseas. I've been my whole career really started overseas in '86 at the Fresh Fest, the Hip Hop Fresh Fest. What the guy was telling you about earlier. His name is Morgan Khan. You know what I'm saying? That's when I got. That was a crowd. You talk about a crowd. That was a crowd.
Mm.
That was like 100,000 or better. That was a crowd. That was a crowd. That's the day I remember me, my man Ron Resnick, and Mick Jagger. We was in Wimbledon Stadium smoking weed. We got fucked up.
Just Ice and Mick Jagger.
That dude got some big motherfucking lip. Yo, man, for real. Pass me back the joint, shit soaking wet and shit. Yeah, but see, my whole shit started over there. That's why I go overseas as much as possible. I love going to do shows, especially in Amsterdam or in the Amsterdam area. Sometimes London, sometimes London. London, the weather be fucking me up. They like go through all 4 seasons in one day. You know what shit? Be fucking me up. But I like over there. The pay is better. The audience is better. The audience to me is a little is tolerant, more tolerant, not ready to just punch a motherfucker because they stepped on their new sneakers.
Mm.
You know, over there they know you going to a party with a couple of thousand people. Don't wear your freshest shit.
Right.
Wear something you expect to get a little dirty, because you're not coming there for a fashion show. You're coming there for a hip hop party. Now in New York, you go to a party, niggas come in and they fly as shit with their gun in the car waiting to use it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, I prefer to do my shows overseas. And it's just a better crowd, better attitude, better atmosphere.
Right.
That's what my man J. Rue the Damager. Remember him, right?
Yeah.
Out in Germany, right?
J. Rue said, I'm not going back.
Yeah.
J. Rue said, I said, how long you staying out here, J. Rue? I ain't going back over there.
I think Donald D as well.
Yeah, man. It's like the business over there is a little slightly different. It's more refined, but once you learn it, you make a lot of money.
Right.
My man, you know about Todd Terry? You heard about Todd Terry?
Todd Terry, yeah.
That boy lives over there.
He's out there too?
He lives there.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? That house music, House music is so, and what they call it, acid rock or acid music, whatever. It's like that shit. You stick your finger in a socket and your hair just blow the fuck out. Man. They love that shit over there. He play all that shit.
Nice.
It's different over there. It's just different.
How have you found yourself very active? Would you say very active within the last few years of as far as going overseas and doing shows?
Well, we go overseas every year. The only thing that slowed us down in the last year or two was the COVID.
Okay.
Yeah, we go over there every year. And when we're over there, we do more than one show.
Okay.
Because you'd be surprised the groups that be over there. On our days off, last time we was over there on our days off, we went to a club so Cool and the Gang and the Fatback Band. The real ones. The real ones.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's never a dull moment over there. Never. It's different, man. Like I'm saying, it's just different over there. And it's not the point like I'm slowing down. It's just that, like I said before,
selective.
When I was I'm very selective now, because back when I was younger, you got to show, I do it. I do it. Now, man, now I'm like, yo, man, if the money ain't right, dogs, don't even call me, man. You can't even, like this right here, what we doing right here, over there, this is some, because you got to charge a motherfucker for this kind of shit. My time is valuable.
Right.
My time is very valuable.
Indeed.
Like I said, nobody has to tell me anything about hip hop because I grew up in it. I saw and heard it for myself. What I know, I experienced firsthand. The people that I've met, I knew them. I mean,
right. So it's I get you. I get it.
We won't spend too much time on each album because we'd be here all night, but you dropped Masterpiece 1990, Gun Talk 93, Kill the Rhythm 95, 7 in 98. Can you just sum up the 90s for Just Ice? What that
I think you just did, man. I think you just did. You remember more of that shit. You missed one.
Which one?
Kill the Rhythm Like a Homicide.
No, I said that 95.
Oh, you did?
In the Minute Records.
Okay, yeah, Sleeping Dog Records. That was really Sleeping Dog Records.
Not
Sleeping Dog?
Sleeping Dog Records.
That was West Coast, right? West Coast.
Yeah,
label?
yeah.
So
Jason Blaine,
Yeah, how did you transition
to
that label?
Because my man Ron Resnick, he's not with us anymore. Ron Resnick was the vice president at Sleeping Bag Records, but he had a lot of connections to like San Francisco because that's where he was from over there. And it was one guy he knew, Jason Blaine, who was in the industry somehow or another. I don't know if his wife was a big porn. I know his wife was a big porno star or whatever, but it was like one thing led to another, and we got hooked up to do an album deal with In a Minute Records through Jason Blaine, and I think half of that album was produced by my man OC. That's OC from the Fearless Four.
Okay.
And I think that's how that got hooked up. Okay. Because of Ron Resnick, yeah.
Okay. Anything about the business at the end of the 90s that just kind of turned you off, or did you just?
That's one thing about this business, man. If you ever get turned off by this business, you was never in it. Because if you expect this business to stay the same, you in the wrong business. Right. You were definitely in the wrong business. You have to accept the fact that you came into the music business because it has staying power. Music business is never going to go out of business. It will always evolve. You might not like it, how it evolves, but it's going to evolve. The choice is, are you going to evolve with it, or are you going to look at it? Me, I'm going to evolve with it. Everybody always asks me, how you like today's hip hop? How you like today's hip hop? It's hip hop. If this is what the children or the young people are listening to now, they consider hip hop and they can relate to it the way we did when we was younger, and our parents couldn't stand it. Our parents couldn't stand it. The older people couldn't stand it. It's the same way now. It's not that I can't stand it. It's just that right now I prefer to listen. I don't listen to hip hop really that much anyway, unless it's original records. But I love the fact that hip hop evolves and it keeps evolving. Right. Don't ever. Once this business becomes stagnant, there's no longer a business.
Right.
There's no longer a business. You got to keep it moving. You got to keep going up. Like I said, you might not like the direction it's going. It might be going diagonal. It might not be going straight up. Even if it's going diagonal, it's still going up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Just gotta keep up with it.
You gave us little glimpses of what Just Ice is currently working on. You said some alcohol, new song, touring. Catch us up on what you've been up to for the past
He
20
said
years.
alcohol. He said alcohol.
The beer, the new beer.
Oh, yeah, you say it like that.
The new beer.
Only thing I drink is champagne, baby.
All right.
Well, like I said, it's called Electro Beer, and I don't know if you guys can look it up. I haven't even looked it up yet, but it's a new beer out in London. It's coming out for the young people. And like, I don't drink beer. I haven't drunk beer. I'm 57. I haven't drank a beer since the 90s.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? I haven't really drank a beer because after I saw how that shit was made, I stopped drinking it that day.
Mm.
You know, right? But the electro beer, y'all can pull it up on the computer. Matter of fact, when I finish with you, I'm gonna pull it up to see now. Now I'm curious now. I'm curious now. And like I said, also the track with the Mantronix, get your drink on, get your freak on. Like I said, trying to get another one going, but you know, that's Curtis. Overseas touring, especially when we get over there, so much fun. I like doing this shit. Just like I said, like I'm very selective about how I do it though, because I like to stay home with the family. You know what I'm saying? Watch TV, plant my weed, smoke my weed. You know what I mean? Shit like that. I plant and grow my own weed, so I'm good with that. So play with my cats, all that good shit. Go to the gun range, let off some anger.
Yeah.
Right.
Before I forget, I want to ask you this real quick. Gangsta Hip Hop, right? And Mosh It Up.
Okay.
Those two songs. Can you tell me a little bit about how you came up with the Gangsta Hip Hop and how Mosh It Up came to be?
Well, the gangster of hip hop is just a bunch of experiences that I basically went through as an MC and as a person growing up in the Bronx around hip hop and in New York, period, not just the Bronx, in New York, and the attitude and how it comes about, how it can kind of just grab your ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And just let it come on out verbally. Yes. Let it come out verbally. It was an MC record. Mm-hmm. It's an MC. The gangster hip hop was more like a street corner record. Like, we ain't got no music, but my man could beatbox. Now check this shit out. That kind of shit.
Right.
Now, Mosh It Up, like I said, was more or less a tribute to Tiger. Because I used to listen to a lot of Tiger back in them days.
Oh, wait.
A lot of Tiger.
So, I thought you said Lyric Licking before was...
Lyric Licking and Mosh It Up.
Oh, it's okay. Because I was going to ask you that then.
Both of them are dancehall records.
Yeah.
And it was attributed to more or less to Tiger style.
Okay.
Especially Mosh It Up was definitely Tiger style.
Yo, that is one of my... I got to shout out my boy C Just real quick because... a lot of your songs, but Mosh It Up is one of our favorite songs that we always, and it's hard to find sometimes if you don't have it.
If you don't know how to spell it.
Right, that too. But it's dope. And I just wanted to say, since I do have the chance to speak to you, and I was, like I said, either 7th or 8th grade, and I used to pause Gangsta of Hip Hop, listen to it and pause it and try to write it, to try to memorize it. Yeah. And I used to do that over and over and over again. So I just wanted to...
Did you ever get everything?
There was some part, like matter of fact, if you don't mind, there's a part where you do like the little, like the chant part, the Man Sharon, come me.
No, it's called no.
I don't know what it says. That's why I'm just doing the melody.
The name of the record is Run Come Call Me by the Jamaican artist Tenor. Bounce your run come call me, but make sure you can pay me.
Okay.
Bounce your run, it's called.
I couldn't get that back then. I know what you're talking about now. But no, I couldn't get that. That was the only part that I would always just kind of try to listen to. But everything else,
that's an old Tenor record.
Rewind, pause, write it. Yeah,
I used to do that shit too.
Yo,
that's how I look. Yo, you'd be surprised how many Fearless 4 records that I wrote down just so I could say them back.
Well, one other thing I want to ask you. I'm gonna mention 3 artists. Just tell me what you think. Devastating Tito, Kumo D, and Melly Mel.
The dopest. Tito is one of my favorite MCs.
He's a beast.
Oscar used to take me to Tito's house in Grant Projects in Manhattan, because in his house there's a studio where Oscar used to work out of. They had their living room cut off and made it a studio, but Tito wasn't there. Ever since I was a kid, I loved the way Tito rhymed.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Tito was, to me,
He's a beast.
him and DLB was the best. To me, him and
Mm-hmm.
DLB was lyrical.
Mm-hmm.
But Tito had that voice, he had that flow,
Mm-hmm.
and he had, it was like the stories he was telling. And I was like, I was like, you could just play Tito over and over.
Right. Yeah,
Now, Kumo D,
yeah.
nothing to play with. I used to follow Kumo D. I think ever since I heard Mo D beat up on Busy B. Starsky at Harlem World, yeah, because Mo D and the Treacherous Three was basically from Manhattan, from up there. So a lot of their shit was in Harlem World, Celebrity Club, like that kind of Harlem shit. When you heard about Mo D beating up on Busy B. Starsky at Harlem World, that tape went every motherfucking where. That tape was in Brooklyn, Queens, and I'm like, yo, this boy destroyed him. I wrote that shit down word for word.
Yeah. Okay.
I wrote that shit down. I'm like, and then I talked to Mo. It's bugged out. I talked to Mo. Mo made that shit up 10 minutes before the battle in a bathroom stall.
What?
Or a piece of paper. He said, Just, I went in there in a bathroom stall, sat down, just wrote that shit down 10 minutes before, memorized it, came out and killed him. I was like, God damn.
That makes it even worse now. Knowing that.
He just made this shit up in the bathroom.
Damn, that's crazy.
And I'm like, yo, at least I said, can I tell people this shit? Because Mo got a book out. I think it's called The 50th Greatest MCs.
Mm-hmm.
I think of it. I gotta be. I'm number 50, so what the fuck? At least I made it. At least I made it. You know what I mean? Yeah, he was. Yo, I looked up to Mo like, wow, and because one of his records I used to practice. I use a cool. It's called Turn It Up. You play Turn It Up, you hear Kumo D. You hear Kumo D. Turn It Up.
So about
you got the book. There's a God on the mic. Yeah. Yep. That's it.
The true 50 greatest MCs.
Yeah, I'm 50, number 50, but I made it, goddamn.
You made it.
Absolutely.
I made it. Yeah.
You made it.
Melly Mel. He said Melly Mel.
Melly Mel.
To me, if it wasn't for Mel, I would have never really started rhyming. Because Melly Mel is who I used to listen to back in the 6th and 7th grade. You know what I'm saying? I used to ride the back of Castle Hill. Now I think it's called a 22 bus, even if it's still a 22. But way, way back, when my grandmother first moved to Castle Hill, we used to sit there and we used to watch them build the other buildings. The whole project wasn't even built yet. You know what I'm saying? And the 13 bus, and that's when me and my sister would come from Brooklyn on Friday to Castle Hill and stay until Sunday. We would ride the 13 bus, and motherfuckers be on the back of the 13 bus with their little tape recorders and the cassette. And I'm like, yo, and I'm hearing this shit, man. Like Melly Mel, Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Four. The Furious Four. It was great. It was Easy Mike, Disco B, and Grandmaster Flash. And the Furious Four MCs. Used to hear this shit every week. And one day I was on the bus and I heard this nigga. My man played the tape. It was Melly Mel rhyming to King Everson's "Have a Nice Day." I was like, yo, that's it. That's it. That was it. Because back then you see here motherfuckers like Pow Wow and Sundance and all. It was good for rocking the party, but they wasn't rhyming like Melly Mel.
Yeah. Right.
Mel was actually saying shit. And he actually was saying a rhyme, talk about, I was taking a ride on a bus one day and I'm on a bus listening to this shit.
Right.
So that shit kind of got me.
It was relatable to you at the time.
Yeah. So those three MCs in my eye, if it wasn't for them, a lot of us wouldn't even be doing what the fuck we doing.
Right. Yeah, I feel like they don't. Well, people tend to talk about Melly Mel a lot more, obviously, but I feel like Kumo.
You know why they talk about Mel? Because Mel up there getting naked on the stage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mel up there showing that the muscles off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I look like this here.
And Tito, I feel like they don't get mentioned enough.
You don't really see or hear them that often.
Yeah, so they're not in the people's minds.
Exactly.
But
exactly. You have to be constant.
Yeah.
You have to be constant. That's why I can honestly say I have to keep myself constant by doing different things for different generations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of motherfuckers out here now, they heard of Just Ice, but they haven't really heard Just Ice. See, I'm not no motherfucking Lil Wayne. I ain't no fucking Drake. None of that shit. Because to me, that shit, that's all good hip hop, but that's for you young cats, for you young niggas, space music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't fuck, you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to get a headache like that. You know what I mean? I want to hear when I want to hear hip hop, I want to hear some fucking hip hop. And let's get this straight also. Hip hop and MCing and all that shit, two different fucking things. Two different fucking things. You can go to a hip hop party and motherfucker ain't got to touch the mic and you have the best hip hop night of your life. Listening to hip hop.
Right.
Now when a motherfucker want to touch the mic, that's when it's MCing hip hop. Motherfuckers, it's like okay, hip hop and rap, two different fucking things. Like I said, hip hop is the music, the rap is the motherfucking talk. I don't want to hear no rap. If I want to hear motherfucking talk, I want to hear MC. MCs know the difference between MCing and rapping.
Right.
Motherfucker call me a rapper, I get highly offended.
Right.
Get highly offended. And the only people that call MCs rappers are the people who came up in this past generation who didn't get the proper education about this hip hop shit. Right. You ask certain motherfuckers down there who started hip hop, they'll tell you Tupac or Biggie or some shit like that.
Right. Yo, I keep saying last in, but you keep touching on certain things. KRS versus Melly Mel. Not really a battle?
Yeah, and it happened at the Latin Quarter. And
but was it really a battle?
It wasn't a real battle. That's something that Chris would do to you back in the days. He would just catch you on stage and demolish you. You know, you could be aware of it or not. They just happened to be on the mic. It wasn't no real battle, but Chris got him. Chris got him that night.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't. Mel wasn't prepared for that.
Right. So
you know what I'm saying? But you know,
that was part of KRS sneak attacks type thing.
Yeah, right? Man. Yeah. I'm like, yo, you see the opportunity? Kill him.
Right.
So, well, Just Ice, we want to thank you for the opportunity. You made two hip hop fans weeks. We've been geeking out all week talking about this. We want to thank you for your contributions, everything you're doing, everything you've done. It has not gone overlooked. Before we get out here, can you shout out your social media and where people can keep up with you going into the future?
No, because I don't have it. I don't fuck with it. I'm gonna be honest with you, dog. When I'm on Facebook, I use a totally different name. So motherfuckers don't even know it's me. You know what I'm saying? I go say the name because they don't know it's me.
Right.
Understandable.
You know what I'm saying? I don't really fuck with that social media bullshit, man. I mean, shit, man. To me, that shit, it kind of clouds your judgment. And it clouds the way you see things and say things and look at things. And like I said, it clouds your judgment. And see me, I'm a more black and white person. I'm not that gray in the middle motherfucker. It's either it is or it ain't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the kind of person who condones certain bullshit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I stay off this social media shit. Motherfuckers who see me on here right now, cherish it. Because until I get my next interview on Zoom or StreamYard, y'all ain't gonna see my ass.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Listen, I just want to say from the bottom of our heart, bro, like you said earlier about your time is valuable and all of that. We do not take that for granted at all. I wish I could take it out of here, man, so you could see, but very appreciated, man. Very, very appreciated. It means the world to us, man.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Perfect. I'm out, man.
Thank you, bro.
No problem.